So we have a lot to share. Let's begin. And of course, we always begin with something. Sorry, I'm a little raspy today because I was counseling till way late last evening. And we want to begin with something that's really positive, and that is there's a scientific article that has been published showing that a tea, and I'll spell it again, Rooibos, is considered a support during the COVID pandemic, and it helps with the morbidity and mortality rate. Now, the highly infectious SARS-2 is known to prime a cytokine storm in patients, and progression of that to acute lung injury and then acute respiratory distress syndrome. Well, based on clinical features, the pathology of acute respiratory disorder induced by SARS-CoV-2 suggests that excess inflammation and oxidative stress and dysregulation of the renin angiotensin system are likely contributors to the COVID-19 disease. Well, this tea made from this herb, it's been consumed, by the way, for centuries, has displayed potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant and redox modulating, anti-diabetic, anti-cancer, and metabolic support, and it protects your organs. And the article describes how this Rooibos can potentially play a supportive role in modulating the risk of some comorbidities associated with COVID in order to promote general health during infections. Really lowers your oxidative stress. That's very important because oxidative stress, congestive heart failure, diabetes, those inflammatory responses, that all increases the risk of you dying, but it also increases the risk of COVID-19. So there's a phytochemical constituents package within the herb, and we're finding more and more science that supports what is known as the redox modulatory potential. So if you know anyone who wants to protect themselves, just add this as one more of the tools in that. Also, some people are allergic to peanuts and can't eat them. But if you're not allergic, eating peanuts may lower the risk of ischemic stroke and cardiovascular disease, especially if you're Asian. This is from Osaka University in Japan, published in the peer-reviewed journal Stroke, the Journal of the American Stroke Association, which is the division of the American Heart Association. Now, we've seen that peanuts improve cardiovascular health among Americans, but this specifically was peanuts and the different types of stroke. And you've got hemorrhagic or ischemic. And so it worked. It worked, quote from the study. We showed for the first time a reduced risk of ischemic stroke incidence associated with higher peanut consumption in Asian population. And that was the lead author of the study. So good. Now we know that peanuts are rich in heart-healthy nutrients, the monounsaturated fatty acids, the polyunsaturated fatty acids, minerals, vitamins, dietary fiber. All that helps reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. So that it also lowers high blood pressure. And high blood pressure and high blood lipid levels, or your bad cholesterol, create chronic inflammation. So they looked at 74,000 Asian men and women, 45 to 74, from the Japan's Public Health Center-based prospective study. So that's good news, all right? In fact, it was 20% lower risk of ischemic stroke if you had peanuts throughout the week. Good. Also, good sleep time recovery is associated with a health-promoting diet and health-promoting eating habits, as well as lower consumption of alcohol. That's this study investigating the psychological and physiological well-being at the University of Eastern Finland, published in the Journal of Occupational Medicine Toxicology. Simply stated, they found that when people had a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle, they tended to be able to balance stress and recovery from stress, meaning they didn't stay chronically stressed, which will really, really play havoc with your whole hormonal system, immune system, your heart. You literally can stress yourself into a heart attack. Now we have what is known as the parasympathetic nervous system that plays a key role in recovery, during which heart rate is decreased and heart rate variability is high. They found that when people were able to have a healthy lifestyle but get a good night's sleep, not have alcohol, then everything improved. Everything. So, and you kind of understand this from just a lay perspective, and that is when people don't exercise, when people don't engage in any form of stress reduction, when people live by their nerves, meaning they're always on edge, and what is the likelihood they're going to pay attention to a healthy diet? So generally, you're all in one way or all in another way. And the more things that you're in on, the longer you're going to live. And the more things you're not in on, the more disease you're going to suffer. It's that simple. Cut through it all. That's the simplicity. I've helped a lot of people with multiple sclerosis. Some you've heard recently on this program. According to this latest study, they found that the younger you start using supplementation, the less likely you are to have multiple sclerosis as an adult. That's it. They talked about vitamin B12, vitamin C, calcium, folic acid, iron, and the carotenoids. So that's good. Now, something that most people are not aware of, and that is if you have the green soybean extract, it could help reverse cognitive dysfunction and its associated accumulation of beta amyloid proteins in the brain. And just for people who are not familiar with this, the accumulation of the beta, B-E-T-A, amyloid, A-M-Y-L-O-I-D, proteins has long been linked to the development of brain stunting conditions, including Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. The new findings come from a Japanese trial, laboratory experiment, and writing in the Journal of Functional Foods, meaning foods that actually function in a positive way in your body. The team revealed that brain functions were significantly better preserved. In this case, it was with aged mice fed green soybean than age-matched controls, with and without yellow soybean. So the key is your green soybean. And so what's in the green soybean? Well, a good example of that would be the little pods in edamame, and you can buy them in a pack. You can buy a giant frozen size and just boil some water, put the soybeans in. It comes in a serving. A serving is a cup, and let it cook for maybe 5 minutes. And then if you want, you can put some Himalayan sea salt sprinkled or lemon juice. And then as you put it in the mouth and you pull it through your teeth, the skin comes off, but the soybeans, green soybeans, are inside. High in protein, higher than meat, by the way, or fish or chicken. But also you're getting those phytonutrients. And what happens is, I don't want to be too technical, but it's what's called PTGDS binds and transports small lipophilic molecules. It's been proposed as the endogenous AB chaperone, and that plays a role, very important role, in preventing dementia. So just make it very simple and very easy. When you're eating the green soybeans, you're getting genistein, G-E-N-I-S-T-E-I-N, dadzine, D-A-I-Z-E-I-N, and genstin and dadzin. These are all phytonutrients, and they're all important. So, also finally, from Ohio State University, a study links free radicals to heart damage caused by cancer. A new study, and this is in a laboratory, animal study, shows that the presence of a cancer tumor alone can lead to cardiac damage and suggests the culprits are molecules that we know as free radicals interacting with specific cells in the heart. And that's important. Why? Because you don't want the decrease in the heart's blood pumping capabilities And cardiac dysfunction can cause that, and tumors can cause that. So, i.e., let's put it together. One tumor can cause a particular type of free radical, because after all, it's not normal to the body, and you get a big rush of free radicals. That can cause inflammation. That spreads over to the heart and leads to cardiac dysfunction, particularly a decrease in the heart's blood pumping capabilities. So why not take those antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E, coenzyme Q10, that trap free radicals, that trap oxidative stress, therefore reducing that from happening. So flood the body with green juices, flood the body with antioxidants. In fact, this was published in the peer-reviewed journal, Antioxidants, and there was also an article published in the Journal of the American Heart Association showing the detection of abnormalities in heart tissue and cardiac function in human cancer patients before cancer treatment had begun. Now keep in mind, once you have a cancer treatment, hopefully it'll be successful. And some are, and I support them. But what about those half of all cancer deaths due to the treatment itself, chemotherapy, which itself is carcinogenic, and radiation, which itself is carcinogenic? And when you have the two together, you create a massive, massive cytokine storm that can lead to all forms of disease, including a reoccurrence of cancer. So why not really load up on vitamin C? I mean, a lot, including intravenous vitamin C. Just something that can help us. And, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to tell you about which nutrients. I was asked this morning. In fact, one of the people in the clinic had read one of my books. I was just walking out. The person had lymphedema. I mean, a big swollen arm. Interesting, because no one that had been treating this person at the clinic knew how to reduce this. And so I gave some suggestions, and it never occurred to him. I said, but run it by your doctor, and who you're going to see in a minute, and see if it makes sense, and ask him to look it up. Ask him to look on PubMed under this particular therapy. But then someone else heard that and asked about glaucoma, and I said, well, I'll deal with that. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about the vitamins and nutrients that will help prevent glaucoma and macular degeneration.